Welcome to Crossbody of Work. My name is Evan.
I'm Javier.
And we're covering The Shield.
Sierra, Hotel, India, Echo, Lima, Delta, Shield. Roman Reigns.
What is that actually called, that language?
I don't know.
It's a military thing, right?
I don't military. I don't do that.
Echo, Delta, Charlie, all those things, right?
Nothing but respect for veterans, I guess, but I can't stand military stuff.
The NATO phonetic alphabet is what it's called.
Good for them.
I learned things today.
You Googled it.
I did. I Googled. I learned how to Google.
I respect it.
Yeah.
I respect it.
I'm a big proponent of it. If you don't know it, just Google it and learn how to research. Learning how to research is more important than memorizing facts, people. If you have children, teach them how to do good, concrete research.
You don't know math?
Memorize shit. Yeah. I'm never going to not be able to look up a formula, all right?
This is
true.
Google it. Right? I don't need your worksheet, lady.
Is it good to be able to do quick mental math? Absolutely. But I don't need to know, y equals mx plus b. I don't even know what that's from, but it's drilled in my head. Fully in my brain. I think it has something to do with curves.
Yeah, I think that's how you find the something of the curve on a graph.
Yeah. Well, this is not a math podcast.
Anyways, the Shield exists, and we're covering them today.
That's right. Roman Reigns, Dean Ambrose, baby. Dean Ambrose, baby. And Seth Rollins, the Shield. We're covering them from their debut in 2012 to their eventual breakup, as well as the triple threat between all three members that had been teased for such a long time. We all thought it was coming soon, yeah. And it finally did, and it was fine.
Yeah, it was fine. Should have been better. Could have been grander.
Could have been much grander. Could have been on the grandest stage of them all, but it wasn't. It was on Battleground.
But we'll get to it.
What's your favorite Battleground moment of all time? Said nobody.
Oh, it was Battleground the pay-per-view where Jinder Mahal won the title?
Probably.
Well, it wasn't that. It was the Kevin Owens Sami Zayn match from this exact show, the 2016 one.
Oh, yes. That one is good. Before we dive into the actual Shield, we're going to go through all the housekeeping stuff like we normally do. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Crossbody of Work. Make sure to buy the merch. Cop the t-shirts. FullPressShop.com. Merch table is open. Also, hey, we just put out a tweet on the tweeter saying if you want us to do interviews or bring some guests on the podcast, you should tell us who you want. Tell us who you want to hear from. Do you want us to bring in wrestlers to review their body of work?
Give me what I want.
You want us to bring in your favorite podcaster to be like, here are my favorite matches? Do it. We'll do that. Just tell us who you want.
Yeah.
What do you want? We
can reach out. They'll probably say no, but we can try.
Yeah, we can try. We can shoot shots. I shoot bricks.
I'm a great shooter. That's all I can do.
Shoot or shoot. That's what
all I can do.
Also, wherever you're listening to, be sure to subscribe and leave us a 5-star Frog Splash review. It helps the pod grow. The pod's been growing. There's some new listeners out there. And hey,
exponentially.
Thanks for being a new listener. Yeah, we're blowing up.
Shout out to all of you listening to this. I don't know how you do it, but I appreciate that you do. I like it when people listen to me. No one's ever done that throughout my life.
It is kind of funny to me in my brain. I'm like, oh yeah, people actually just like listen to us talk about wrestling. That's crazy.
That's weird.
Yeah. I mean, I appreciate it. It's very cool. But like, wow.
Like, I'm very annoying when it comes to wrestling because I only care about the things that like no one cares about.
You care about only the things nobody cares about. I'm the one pointing out signs in the stands being like, hey, that was funny.
Yeah, but you're like contributing to more than just the match itself. I'm talking about the most boring part of the match, which is the actual wrestling.
This headlock was incredible.
I know, right? Like, I fucking love when Bray Wyatt hits a Uranagi, you know?
Bray Wyatt hitting a Uranagi is my love language. That shit is tasty.
It's so good. It's amazing. But we will get to that.
We will get to him hitting Uranagis, but first we gotta talk about the debut of the Shield, taking you back to a simpler time, November of 2012. It is Survivor Series 2012, and we have a triple threat for the WWE Championship. It is Ryback. Remember Ryback?
The guy who put out a poll saying where should he go next, and one of the options was retire, and like 60% of people voted for retire or something like that. To the point where he was like responding to tweets like, hey, don't tell me to retire.
Then don't make it an option, dummy. Ryback was taking on John Cena and WWE Champion CM Punk. This was during Punk's historic reign.
Did you actually watch the match?
434. No, I did not watch the actual match.
So
I've seen it before, but I didn't watch it this time.
As I've stated on the podcast multiple times, I watch all these matches before hopping on here because I can and I like it fresh in my mind because I have terrible memory. And so for some reason I misread it and I thought this was the first thing on the list was a TLC match, and I just kept scrolling. Like I looked up the card. I was like, what the fuck? This doesn't line up with the card at all. I like kept having ads because of stupid Peacock, and like I kept going through everything. Where is this TLC match? Only to then realize, fuck me. Of course the TLC match isn't here. This isn't the TLC match. They show up for fucking 5 minutes at the end.
That's right. They just hop the barricade and take out Ryback and Cena. So this was the debut of the Shield. Have you heard the story about how they actually almost debuted with riot shields? Like they were that close to really live in the gimmick?
Yes. So a little I think we should probably go into a little backstory about the Shield, the group, before we do anything. The group.
Yeah, for sure.
The original idea, I believe, was brought up by Punk himself. Yeah. And the group was supposed to be, I believe, Ambrose, Daniel Bryan, and Chris Hero. Was that it?
No, it was supposed to be Rollins, Ambrose, and Chris Hero.
Yeah, Rollins, Ambrose, and Chris Hero. And then WWE responded with like Bryan, I think it was Rollins and Big Show or some shit like that.
Really?
Yeah, they I know Big Show for sure. Big Show and Bryan were for sure a part of the three.
It wasn't going to be like a developmental thing.
Yeah, I think one of the developmental people were coming up. I think it was Ambrose. It might have been Rollins. And yeah, those two. So that would have been the. Can you imagine the Shield if it was fucking Dean Ambrose?
If it had Big Show?
Big Show. He's the muscle.
What shit would that be?
And,
oh, no. That's so bad. Do they have a tack vest that big?
What if he wasn't wearing a tack vest?
No, I hate it.
He just wears his camouflage onesie that he wears sometimes.
It's a onesie.
With his beanie. Why was Big Show wearing beanies? Like, bro, you've been bald for like 20 years. Why the fuck are you wearing beanies?
You had to go hang out on the block after this. Jesus Christ. No, so instead they decided to make it this faction of invading superstars from NXT who would be loosely associated with CM Punk. And so for the faction they picked Seth Rollins, known in the indie scene as Tyler Black, who had been in developmental for a while with WWE.
Very long time.
And apparently was getting frustrated with being down there for so long because he is an immensely talented individual. Seth Rollins is now one of the best wrestlers in the world, right? And apparently this was finally his big break to make it to the main roster. Worked out great for him.
Yeah, worked out great for all three of them, I would say.
And then, absolutely. And then also Dean Ambrose, known on the indie scene as Jon Moxley, he had planned to debut earlier. He was going to do a hardcore match against Mick Foley, I think was the plan at one point. And they started even doing like little shoot promos for it. But that got nixed because of Mick Foley's health. Because Mick Foley deserves to sleep.
Can you imagine a hardcore match between those two?
It would have been fucking amazing.
Because like Dean Ambrose doesn't care. I want everyone listening to this to know Dean Ambrose is the person in wrestling right now, maybe aside from Darby Allin, who gives a fuck the least about their health.
It makes me laugh only because, like, you know, when Mick was doing all these things, I didn't know much about Mick's wife. But now, like, I follow Renee on Instagram. She's my Canadian hero. You know, she's living the dream. And, like,
that woman is miserable.
Whenever Moxley is doing anything hardcore, whenever John's doing anything, you could just see her tweets being like, what the fuck is we have a baby coming. Like, settle down, sir. Also, I don't know if you saw it. Renee tweeted out a bunch of photos of their, like, people came in and did, like, a shoot for them with her being pregnant. It was great. And John's in some of the shots, and he looks like he would rather be anywhere else. I'm sure he's going to be a wonderful dad, but he's just like, this is weird. I don't like this.
He doesn't like people. He just likes his people. I should be punching
people right now.
You know, that's the thing I respect most about John is that he doesn't like people. He just likes his people.
Exactly. And the last person that they decided to add, and this was the one who replaced Chris Hero. That's the story that I heard, is that they had eventually decided
they were
to be Rollins, Ambrose, and then it'll be Chris Hero. And instead, they wanted to add this guy who is known as Leaki. Liaki down in NXT or in FCW, and that is a guy named Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns was added as the muscle of the group. And so these three hop over the barricade, and it's goddamn turtleneck season. They're all in their little turtlenecks. No riot shields, which is the right call.
Yeah.
Because that would have been goofy as shit.
At least give him a baton, though. I kind of wanted to see what it would look like with a baton.
We are the sons of Big Boss Man. Whack, whack, whack,
I
whack,
respect it, just like, hey, I'm all for a baton. Wrestling doesn't have enough batons in it.
Wrestling needs more baton content.
Why is there kendo sticks everywhere? Give me a fucking baton, man.
Why are there kendo sticks everywhere? Who is the kendo stick supplier? Who's the one who's like, I've got these weird sticks?
And they break them all the time. Like, where the fuck are they getting these kendo sticks from?
Can you get kendo sticks from Costco? Buy them by the bulk? Ooh, a 60-pack. That'll be good. It's Extreme Rules season.
Ooh.
Ooh. So the three of them jump the barricade. Roman Reigns, a little bit more about him, the one with the least wrestling experience, but also comes from the wrestling bloodline. We know Roman Reigns. If you follow wrestling at all anymore, you know all three of these guys because they are three of the biggest people in the wrestling business right now.
Yeah, and as we'll get to later on at the end of the podcast, these guys were not only made by this gimmick, but like fully embraced it. Like, it couldn't, I genuinely feel like there couldn't have been a more perfect pairing than these three.
It's perfect. It's absolutely perfect. So, I will say that Michael Cole's surprise reaction isn't great.
Dude, that's Roman Reigns! Roman Reigns from NXT! And that's Dean Ambrose! That's Seth Rollins!
They're right in front of you, Michael. Do your job. You're a journalist.
Michael, you're literally in the camera. Like, we could see you.
Yeah, we can see you. It reminds me of the, like, For the Love of Mankind call from WrestleMania 32, where he was clearly reading off a sheet. It's like, Michael, we see you. Just call the damn match. But, the three of them are here, and they are putting the boots to Mr. Ryback.
Yeah, they started whooping his ass. Ryback, he gets a meat hook in on Punk, hits the shell shock. By the way, again, we really need to mention this because it's super important. Ryback was probably the most over person on the roster at this time.
Ryback's chants were the most over thing on the roster.
Not even his chants. Ryback himself was stupidly over.
Yeah. The Goldberg clone was just not great.
I mean, part of it is, like, who the fuck gets over for, everyone that gets over usually either has a chant or has, like, a specific thing that gets them over. Like, Austin was the stunner. Rock was the people's elbow and his lines. Daniel Bryan has the yes chance. Fuck it. If people are like, feed me more, who gives a fuck? The guy is stupidly over.
I will say that Ryback has some garbage wrestling opinions and should be stopped now. But, he does fine. The triple powerbomb. The best thing or the best thing?
This is their best one. I generally feel like this is their best triple powerbomb. Only because, like, you could tell they were not only very excited to debut, but, like, they really wanted to make their shit look good. So, like, Rollins and Ambrose, like, went down with the force. Mm-hmm. Like, most of the time, they just kind of let Roman do all the work, but, like,
they truly do let Roman do all the work, yeah.
They'll gently, like, place their hand on the person as they go down.
This time, they were like, Ryback's going down.
They were like, Ryback's getting rock bottoms from both sides on top of this freaking powerbomb.
So then while this is happening, CM Punk crawls to Cena for the pin and the win because Cena got hit with the shell shock.
Yeah, Cena's dead.
Yeah, John Cena is dead. The title reign continues, and the Shield just escaped through the crowd, and everyone was like, what the hell were they doing? Like, what a great moment. What a great debut.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was shocking. It was at one of the big 4 pay-per-views back when it still kind of mattered.
I miss when Survivor Series mattered. I love watching old Survivor Series because the teams were stupid.
Yeah, I mean, Survivor Series, when do you think Survivor Series died? Was it 2015?
When was Sting?
Sting was 2014. That was the last. I feel like that was the last good one. I feel like that was the last good total Survivor Series. There was the match, Raw versus SmackDown. Remember the one where they had all the main event guys? Like, SmackDown had AJ,
But
Dean,
I still don't care about brand warfare. I liked when they added NXT and they did that one Survivor Series. That was cool.
Yeah.
But, like...
I just don't care.
I don't care. Nobody believes that Raw vs. SmackDown's thing. You're the same company.
Just don't make it Survivor Series. Just bring back fucking, what was that?
Bragging rights?
Yeah, bragging rights. Just fucking call it bragging rights. Do that. Leave Survivor Series be what Survivor Series is. Have a 5-on-5 and have a feud mixed in there between two guys. Have them be captains. Give me fucking Team Miz versus Team Bad Bunny, and let's just go.
Oh, book Team Bad Bunny right now. So it's Bad Bunny and Damian Priest.
Bad Bunny, Damian Priest, fucking Rey Mysterio, me, and fucking Dwayne Johnson. Let's go.
Let's move on to our first match. And this is the Shield's first match on the main roster. It is a TLC 6-man tag match. And it is Ryback and Team Hell No, Kane and Daniel Bryan, versus the Shield. Team Hell No are tag champs here.
Which is why they're targeted.
And I love the entrance. Bryan's got his jacket covered in nose at this point and just looks like a shaggy wilderness man. Yeah. One of the best Bryan looks. I love that man.
Yeah, this up all the way up through SummerSlam when he faces John Cena. Just a great time for Daniel Bryan.
Great era for D-Bry. Ryback is here, and he looks like Johnny Sins with a protein powder addiction. So that's great. And then the Shield is here, and they emerge from the crowd.
I don't understand the reference.
Oh, good. That's good. That means you're pure of heart.
Oh, God. Oh, is he like a porn star or something then?
Correct.
Okay.
Oh, look at you. You're so pure. Just like the protein powder that Ryback needs.
I don't know. Okay. I'm not like the weirdo that doesn't watch porn, everyone. I just literally, I don't know. I don't pay attention to their names.
I just know that he's always in a bunch of memes.
Lisa Ann was in the fucking video for that Eminem song way back when. She was Sarah Palin, and that's the only one I know.
Jesus Christ. I just took us down a really weird tangent. Anyways, the Shield is here. They emerge from the crowd in their normal tack vests. They look like the way they look.
What an entrance.
I love that Reigns takes his own route.
Yeah, I like how they split off. I really appreciate that. It's cool,
And then it's a brawl on the outside to start.
Okay, not only to start. This is a brawl on the outside, and then on the inside, and then on the outside. This is a brawl from beginning to end. This is what this is.
Yeah,
this match is amazing.
All brawl.
This is the best match of 2012. I don't care. It's up there. I feel like the only other choice is Cena versus Brock from Extreme Rules.
Yeah.
But I think this just has a notch better. I feel like this is just a notch better. Just not only because it's so fun, but it's genuinely so good. The crowd is hot, and everything about it was just awesome.
What are some spots you like? So this is all about spots in this one.
Yeah, this is a spot fest. If you're not a fan of spot fest, don't do this. I love at the beginning how it kind of makes sense that how they split off, because it's Roman with Kane, it's Rollins with Bryan, and then it's Ambrose getting fucking bullied by Ryback.
He gets absolutely bullied.
Early on, Kane grabs a ladder, places it on the apron, and he's about to slide it in, but Seth Rollins like, "Oh, I'll show you sliding." Baseball slides it right into his dome. Ryback heats up, and he starts making the Shield look like a bunch of jabrones.
This is where I wrote, Ryback is stiffer than a nap on a bus seat. This man just clubs people.
Okay, well, look at him. Does he look like a flexible person?
I know. He doesn't look flexible at all. Ryback is so weird because he looks like one of those action figures that didn't have any points of articulation. He would just actually be those old rubber ones from the 80s. I remember I had one of them that was I think it was a Hogan and a Big John stud. And it was just you couldn't actually get them to do anything. They just existed. And that's how Ryback walks around.
I like that.
He has so much shoulder.
And this was also around the point where I realized that they were at the Barclays in Brooklyn. Oh, my memories of that. So, remember the Friday where everything went to shit the day after the NBA shut down?
Yes.
Guess where I was?
Yes, because you were
Barclays!
Covering the tournament, yeah.
I was covering the Atlantic 10 tournament the morning after the NBA shut down, which was a Thursday. At 5:30 a.m., I woke up to drive to Brooklyn from Amherst, Massachusetts with my friend Tori and my friend Parker, Parker was our photographer. Tori was my fellow person who covered the men's basketball team with me. The third guy on the beat, Freddie, he didn't go because his parents were like super spooked out about COVID, so they were like, "Don't even risk it." Little did he know he was fucking right about it. So we went there. Literally, they're doing warm-ups. The timer runs out. They're about to tip off. They're literally about to make the announcements and all that. The SID, the student information director, gets a phone call for UMass, puts the coach on. 30 seconds later, the game's canceled. So we drove to Brooklyn for nothing.
And I remember because that was a Friday. We record these on Thursdays.
Yeah.
And you threw it in either, I think it was our FPC wrestling chat, like, yo, I was covering this basketball tournament and it got canceled. And we were all like, oh, it's real.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, no, yeah, it got canceled. And then like an hour or two later, like after, you know, everything with the Atlantic 10 tournament was done, we found out that all men's basketball was done. We found out that the tournament was done. Obviously, then we later found out all spring sports were done. Just everything was shut down at that point. And that Friday was really like, that was like Black Friday, you know? It really was like the day, you know, everything kind of became real.
Yeah, and that was Friday the 13th.
Yeah. No,
it
was the 12th. It was the 12th.
Oh, I thought it was Friday the 13th. I was like, I'm not a superstitious person, but like, I'm a little stitious.
No, it would have been Saturday the 13th.
So, the big part of this match that they talk about is, you know, the Shields are all rookies, but they work flawlessly as a unit. That was their presentation from the beginning, is that they're going to be amazing at working together, and consistently they are able to withstand the offense of these three more seasoned vets because they have the numbers game. They never let themselves get outnumbered. They're always able to kind of fight their way out of things, including putting Ryback through a table for the third time in a month. What is he, Lana?
Yeah, I mean, it's just, this happens, so this is hilarious. So what the sequence of that is funny because Ryback starts making Rollins and Ambrose look like fucking jobbers. The way he is just ragdolling them around the ring. He does a double suplex to them on a ladder, and then Roman comes in for the rescue. And it's hilarious because right as they're setting up for the triple power bomb, Roman just goes, "Get up, fools! This is my table now!" But he like said it in kind of like a Mexican accent. So it really did sound like, "Get up, fools! This is my table now, ese! Get it, vato!"
Which Joanna White, not Hispanic.
No, he's a Samoan dude from Pensacola, Florida.
I really liked, at one point Kane gets a little bit of heat, which, you know, puns. He's on fire, puns, and he chokeslams Ambrose through a chair, and the chair just fucking explodes.
Yeah, the chair exploded.
There are pieces of chair everywhere.
That was great.
And then that's followed, I think, by Reigns spearing Kane through the barricade.
Yeah, he spears Kane through the barricade, and Kane is dead. Kane is gone. We don't see Kane again.
So then they start throwing stuff on him, and all I can think of is the line from Step Brothers. It was like, "What are you doing? I'm burying you." That's exactly what they were doing.
That's exactly what Triple H tells all his opponents.
Yeah. What are you doing? I'm burying you, Booker T.
We get a yes lock on Roman, which I guess at this time is called the no lock. I hated that.
Yes.
It's a yes lock.
It's a yes lock.
Ryback is alive after they maul Daniel Bryan, and we get a meat hook. Rollins and Reigns start murdering Ryback. They bring Ryback outside, up the ramp. There's a table out there. They set up a table. They put Ryback on it. And Rollins starts climbing the tallest ladder in the universe. He is on the stairway to heaven. He'll be there in about 7.5 minutes. I don't know how long the song is. For some reason...
That's about it, yeah.
Reigns and Ambrose decide, we're not waiting. So
Rollins waves them to the ring. He's like, "I got this, guys. Don't worry. I got this."
Classic Seth Rollins.
Yeah, classic Seth.
We'll get to that. And he's like halfway up. Ryback is on his feet, just staring daggers at him.
Ryback just wakes up like, "Hey."
And he's like, "Fuck.
What are you doing up there?"
And I love how his idea is, well, I'm just going to climb higher now.
Yeah, higher and onto different ladders. And then eventually Ryback follows him up there and just launches him into some tables.
Yeah.
Which, the way the camera angle looks, you don't see that there are tables there at first. You just see Rollins start to fall.
Yeah.
And
he falls on concrete.
Damn.
Like, I understand the table broke his fall, but, like...
Not that much.
Bro, it's concrete. I trip and land on concrete, and it hurts like a motherfucker.
I want to bring up one thing, which is when they were bringing Ryback up the entryway, at one point Ambrose just fucking chucks a chair at his head. And I was like, yeah, that's the Moxley coming out a little bit.
So that's why his opinions are shit.
He actually got hit in the head with that chair.
It didn't matter, though, because almost immediately after that, Ambrose and Reigns were back in the ring. Daniel Bryan's there. They hit a double powerbomb through a table that they set up in the ring. 1, 2, 3. The Shield have won their debut match.
And they looked amazing doing it. And this was kind of the archetype for what the Shield would be doing for the next year, which is if you had them in tag or 6-man tag action, you weren't beating them because they were just too good. They were that pure of unit. And that's really good booking by WWE to make them individually, they are maybe weaker, but together you're not beating them, which I love when they actually protect tag teams that way.
And I missed this. I missed the entirety of their run, actually, because I was lapsed as a wrestling fan.
We all have it.
Yeah, something it might have been right at the beginning of 2012-ish range through to WrestleMania 30. I just didn't care. I was done. I was burnt out. And I reached that stage in my teens where I was just sports and girls now. So...
Yeah, and for some reason, wrestling doesn't align with that.
Yeah, wrestling.
What a surprise.
None of my... I don't know. It was weird. It probably was just because I was the only person that, still watched wrestling in my life or cared at all about it.
It's hard to be the last one. Yeah.
I missed their whole run, but I went back and watched it, and they really were the MVPs of Raw and SmackDown throughout the entirety of 2013.
They were one of the groups. This is right when I got back into wrestling, and they were one of the things I loved about wrestling. I was like, these guys are awesome. I know nothing about them. They're all excellent. But we're going to get into more of their excellent stuff. We're going to take our first break. When we get back, we're looking at one of the best 6-man tag matches probably ever. Back from the break, we're skipping all the way ahead to Elimination Chamber 2014. So we skipped all of 2013, but let me fill you in on what happened. In that time, the Shield were the henchmen of the Authority before being the henchmen of Punk, loosely affiliated, but still doing his bidding. Reigns and Rollins became tag champs together. Ambrose became the longest-running United States champion in WWE history because he had the belt for, I think, just under a year.
Yeah.
Or maybe just over.
Defended it about twice.
Yeah, did not defend it often. Cracks in the Shield during a feud with Punk where Ambrose was the only one with a title but was seen as the weak link because he kept getting pinned or his ass whooped in tag matches. And then Reigns was being pumped up as the hot ticket because he did really well in the Royal Rumble and in the 2013 Survivor Series where I think he eliminated 5 guys by himself, or 4?
4.
4 out of 5.
Something like that. But he was awesome. I mean, that was when he murdered Rey Mysterio.
Yeah, with the spear that actually looked like it ended Rey Mysterio's life. So the Shield were in a 6-man tag against Cena, Sheamus, and Daniel Bryan to get spots in the Elimination Chamber match, but they lost because the Wyatts cost the Shield a spot in the chamber by interfering and beating up John Cena. So they lost the match by DQ, so the other 3 got to be in the chamber. That led to this 6-man tag match we're about to cover, which is the Wyatts versus the Shield. The 2 best 3-person groups that WWE had at that time, because my boys the New Day were about to be good. They were coming soon to a theater near you. But these 2 factions were the hottest thing in wrestling right then. Yeah. It was Daniel Bryan and these 2 factions.
Yeah, they were hot. They just were. They were the hottest thing in the world, and you saw it when this match before it even started. They literally they were staring each other down. The Shield were in the ring. The Wyatts were outside. They weren't even on the apron yet, and the fans were just chanting, "This is awesome."
Yeah, fans were sold already. For those who don't know, the Wyatt family, of course, consisting of leader Bray Wyatt with Luke Harper and Eric Rowan. Wyatts and the whole build to WrestleMania 30 was so fucking lit. That era of WWE was, looking back on it, from the Rumble to WrestleMania, was so good.
Yeah.
You had the Wyatts in the Shield. You had Daniel Bryan finally getting his shot. You had the eventual build-up for a match that should have gone the other way between John Cena and Bray Wyatt. This, and then you had Undertaker Lesnar, which we all thought wasn't going to go one way but went the other. But this whole era was really, really good.
And the Andre Battle Royal was around the corner. The tag divisions were starting to get a little bit of life. The women were finally, they weren't getting super.
They do better the Raw after WrestleMania because that's when Paige debuts.
Yeah, we still had AJ Lee. She was still there. And
she's carrying the thing on her back.
Man, it really was just a bunch of good stuff. And what I liked the most about it was there was a lot of youth. There was fresh faces,
young people actually getting shots.
The main event scene was Daniel Bryan. The people who were being built up were these 3 guys in the Shield who were going to be carrying the company as solo acts eventually for the better part of a decade and a half or something like that, depending on how long they continue. Same thing with the Wyatt family. At the time, we thought Bray Wyatt was going to be the biggest thing in wrestling.
Man, I had all the faith in the world in Bray Wyatt being the biggest thing. I thought I'm like, this guy's got everything, and then they just never.
I thought he was a lock.
Allowed him to pull the trigger.
I thought it was a lock. Him and Roman Reigns were going to be the 2 guys who were going to switch back and forth between babyface and heel, and they were just going to run rampant on the entire WWE.
And now, looking at the Fiend as he currently exists, like, he's in a weird spot too because he just got dunked on by Alexa Bliss. Like, what does that mean?
He's kind of back in the same spot that he was in post WrestleMania 30.
Yeah.
Just that. What the fuck do you do with him now?
So these 2 teams, like you said, the standoff alone is getting this awesome chance, and then they finally actually start facing each other. The Shield hold the ring to start, which is the big thing that we see in 6-man tag matches with the Shield.
They are so fluid too.
They are so clean with it. And I like that Wyatt is going after Ambrose, and Ambrose jumps him because Wyatt keeps calling him a child. Because Ambrose is the loose cannon.
He's the lunatic fringe.
He's the one you can get to and get under his skin. And just it ties into Wyatt's, that's his whole character, the ability to kind of be a manipulator. And so he just starts calling Ambrose a child, and Ambrose is like, haha, fuck you. Where's a chair I can throw at your head? Right? Like, that's what I want.
Yeah, I loved everything about this. I loved the slow start to it. I liked the pacing of it, and the thing I liked most about it was, so the Shield for over a year have been the dominant 3-man group. It's impossible to beat them. It really was, unless there was some sort of chicanery
shenanigans
until here, where it genuinely felt like the Wyatts just had them figured out, now matched. And there were times like, oh, you guys want to do the fluid 3-man thing on us? No, Ambrose, come here, we're doing it on you. No, Rollins, come here, we're doing it on you. It was such a role reversal, and the best thing about this was fucking Luke Harper. In my opinion, I thought Luke Harper was the best part of this match. He was just
as
so
we all
good.
Know, at the point of recording, Mr. Brody Lee, he passed away in November, I believe, and
December maybe.
And it's December.
Yeah.
And so this is the first time I've actually gone back and watched a Harper / Brody Lee match since he passed, and I got weirdly emotional just seeing him. I was like, man, he was always so good, and you heard about it from all the stories that happened when he passed, and the amount of people who talked about, what a good guy he was, and how much he loved the business, but also how much he loved his kids, and how much he's willing to do things for other people. And then you see that, and it's so strange because then you see this character who is an unfeeling hillbilly monster. Right.
And you also look at this match, obviously him and Bray Wyatt had a very close relationship. He had a good relationship with Rowan too. And you look across the ring, he had a very good relationship with Seth Rollins. He had a very good relationship with Dean Ambrose. I don't know about Roman. Did we? I think
he did.
I feel like if he did, we're never going to find out. Roman's like the most private person in the universe.
It's true.
But yeah, I mean, just to see, all these guys here, and it was very obvious that they liked each other at the time too, and they were willing to feed for each other. This match was the one word that comes to my mind when it comes to this match is unselfish, because these guys did not care. They were going out there, they were feeding for each other, they were selling like a dream for each other. They really told a great story because none of them needed shine. No. Even Bray did his little.
The factions themselves were over.
Yeah, even Bray did his little manipulative stuff. He got his shtick in, but at the same time, he was willing to let Reigns pop him in the mouth. Ambrose got a lot of good licks in. Seth, I'm pretty sure, gave him a knee to the side of the face. Stuff like that. It was just such a fun, hard-hitting match. Honestly, if you're going to go back and watch any of these matches, this is the one.
This is the one.
This is the one. Not only just for the crowd, what a fucking crowd this was. But man, the moves, the story, all of this, like the moment that Ambrose is one-on-one in the ring with Luke Harper, and you're just like, holy shit, these two main evented Double or Nothing last year, and here they are, just like a part of this epic match. Man, it's great. It really, really is. We got a Bray Uranagi, which again, I'll take that any day of the week.
Spots that I liked. Rollins flipping out of a top rope German.
Yeah.
Because Harper had met him up there, and he flips out of it, lands on his feet, and hits a suicide dive, and then the springboard knee. And I was like, man, Face Rollins is so fucking fun.
Dude, Rollins, when he was with the Shield, was so fun. Yeah. Like, he was just so at a different gear. And I know the injury, obviously, he had to slow down a bit because of it, but damn, even when he turned heel, I understood he couldn't do the stuff because he was a heel.
Yeah.
But fuck me if he wasn't, like, just a freak. Just an absolute freak.
He's an amazing athlete.
Not that he isn't anymore. I'm not saying Seth Rollins, like,
no.
He's just not, he's like 90% of what he used to be. There was just like a pace that he had.
Yeah.
That once the guy just exploded, he would just go. That he just doesn't get to anymore. And I'm not, like, Seth Rollins is amazing. He is, his heel run now, hit or miss, but I personally enjoy it. And, the way he works is fine and everything, but there's just another level, like another gear as far as speed goes and just explosiveness that we have not seen since he was a part of the Shield.
Yeah. One of the other spots that I liked is Reigns' hot tag. Reigns had really become the best hot tag in wrestling at that point.
Yeah.
And comes in on fire. Samoan drop to Rowan, basement drop kick, launches Harper over the rope. It leads into Harper end up getting up and hitting a suicide dive. But that gets followed up by one of the nicest, just clean somersault topes.
Oh, yeah.
From Rollins.
The tope
and he
Cornito.
Lands clean on Harper's dome. He lands ass on head. And you can kind of see Harper kind of buckle a little bit when it hits. I'm like, oh, shit. But he still catches him.
Yeah,
like,
and then we turn around a couple minutes later, and Rowan and Harper are fucking doing like a double like slam on Rollins through the announce table. I don't even know what that was because it wasn't a choke slam. They like pushed down on his chest.
It was just a big slam.
Yeah, it was just a slam through there.
And at that point, we'd already had what is the big storyline of the match, which is Ambrose and Wyatt start brawling through, as Cole says, the WWE Universe. Wyatt returns. Where the fuck is Dean Ambrose?
He's dead.
He's in a bathroom being jumped by the corporation.
Yeah, he's dead. He's having tea with Sister Abigail. He might come back with black blood all over his face. Who knows?
He's in parts unknown. With the Ultimate Warrior.
He got ambulance to a local medical facility.
Yes, he's on GTV. So eventually it leads to Reigns being left alone with the Wyatts, and he is trying everything. He powers out of Sister Abigail. Wyatt's face when Reigns is powering out of Sister Abigail is great.
Yeah, Samoan drop. Superman punch.
He loves spamming the Superman punch button. This was
I loved it when he would do that. Like I genuinely,
it was super cool.
Like there was a stretch, honestly. Like WWE fumbled the fucking bag in the build of Roman Reigns because genuinely, like right here, he's super over. And if I was watching, Roman Reigns would have been my fucking guy. That would have been my number one dude. And honestly, when I came back to wrestling and he came back at that event after his surgery, I think it was like TLC or something, I was in. I was all in on Roman. Through the Royal Rumble, when he won it, I was like, it should have been Daniel Bryan, but at the same time, like, it's Roman, I'll give him a chance. And then they fumbled the bag heavily.
It's not good. It's not good. But you know what? We'll talk about how they fumbled the bag with Roman. Eventually, Wyatt explodes into him because Roman had gone and speared Harper. He hits the Sister Abigail and the Wyatts win. And all my notes at the end is this match fucks. This match was so goddamn good.
This match was awesome. And I
love it. We can't do it justice.
Yeah, I love it when Bray Wyatt would do that when he was in that like swamp guy character. When he would do the like crossbody, but it would be so fast and so stiff and vicious. And it looked incredible. It honestly looked like just one of like the most deadly fucking move in wrestling. Like if he hits me with that shit, I'm done. I'm dead. Just leave me there. Put some dirt on top of me. It's over.
I'm burying you. Let's move on to the next match. So the next night on Raw after Elimination Chamber, the Shield lost, or I guess maybe not the next night, but a week later. The Shield lost a rematch against the Wyatt family when the Shield's poor teamwork led to Rollins walking out during the match. And then on that week's SmackDown, the members of the Shield met in the ring to, quote, clear the air. And Rollins explained that his actions achieved his purpose of getting Ambrose and Reigns to see eye to eye because the two of them had been feuding and had been kind of bickering over who was the real leader. Reigns, obviously, is the big powerhouse who'd had lots of growth, and Ambrose as the de facto leader since they debuted. So from there, they turned babyface. They were feuding with the Authority, and they ended up having a really weird match at WrestleMania 30, which was against Kane and the New Age Outlaws.
Should have been the Wyatts.
They won in like 3.5 minutes.
It should have been the Wyatts. It just should have been.
Especially if Bray Wyatt's going to lose to John Cena at WrestleMania 30. I agree. After WrestleMania, with both Randy Orton and Batista having lost to Daniel Bryan, the tiny little goat-faced B+ man.
Who used to be part of the Wyatt family.
Who used to be part of the Wyatt family. Remember that? After that, Evolution decided to reform. Triple H got Randy and Batista to become his big buddies again, and they went to take on the Shield. So we're looking at their first of 2 matches. It is at Extreme Rules, Evolution versus the Shield. First note on this, holy shit, Evolution is stacked. And I know we know that. Evolution is one of the best stables ever. But, like, looking at them here, at this point they are established. 3, like, Hall of Famer world champions, 31 titles between them. Like, these boys are good. And it's like the Shield, still the up-and-comers against them.
Evolution is a mystery! Anyways, my thing that really just shows how successful this group was, lump in Ric Flair too if you want.
I mean, yeah.
Batista is the only one who wasn't at least a 10-time world champion. And he had 6.
Wild.
Which is still more than Roman Reigns, I believe.
Yeah, Roman only has 4.
5.
5?
Yeah, because remember the Universal title that he won and then had to vacate?
Right.
Did he vacate that, or did he just lose it back to Brock? No, he vacated it.
Yeah.
And then, and then he won
What a
it.
time.
Now he has it. So,
so another thing that we haven't talked about yet, but I want to talk about because it was super clean during the entrance. Rollins' little flip over the barricade, one of my favorite things.
Amazing.
Yeah. And the little hair flip with his little blonde patch.
His little blonde patch.
What a weird dude. His little blonde patch.
He did it because it stood out. Which, admittedly, yeah, it stood out.
Yeah, because everybody else on the roster has long dark hair. Or long blonde hair. And he's the one they wanted with both.
He's like, fuck it, I'm doing both. Or Sheamus, who had just had red hair.
Oh, what's that fella?
With his pasty white skin.
Any excuse to do the Sheamus impression.
Shield clears the ring early because it's just what they do. They just do that.
What they do.
They clear the ring early. This is our yard. Come here and try to take it.
Rollins and Triple H are the first 2 to start the match, and I was surprised that Triple H was the start because he's still a special attraction at this point.
But at the same time, it makes sense because he's the technician.
And he wants to get his hands on. Like, it's not going to be Orton. Orton and Batista both have better hot tags than Trips, I think.
I just thought it made sense more just because, like, Batista's the heavy. You know, I guess.
Orton's the snake.
Even though he's probably size-wise the smallest one. He's the heavy. Orton could have started, but I just felt like Triple H made more sense because he's kind of like the older guy who, if the Shield are going to go up early, it makes sense that they go up on him because, you know, you could say he's just not prepared for that.
No, that makes sense. This match, it's a lot of just Evolution working over Shield members.
And I kind of liked it.
15? Yeah.
I liked it. It makes sense. It's again, it's one of those things we just haven't seen before. Like the Wyatts just did to the Shield what the Shield would do to other people. Evolution did not do that. Evolution was like, we do things our way, and you're just going to have to deal with it.
Rollins gets worked on for a first while. Also, the second they tag in Batista, the boos are incredible. People fucking hated Batista.
Yeah, Blue-tista. We got a Blue-tista chance there at one point.
Batista. Yeah, it was awesome. Rollins does tag in Ambrose, and he goes wild on Orton. He's doing really well, and then eventually he gets worked down by Evolution. You know, the savvy vets being able to really control this. And then right when Ambrose starts getting worked on, I'm like, oh, we're gonna get the Reigns hot tag as the big finish. Cool. That's where
my favorite thing about this was when Ambrose came in and he was a maniac, and then he just started putting on figure fours.
Yeah,
fucking love that.
Loved it because Ric Flair had said that he thought that the Shield would beat Evolution.
Yeah, good.
Apparently on Raw. Also, crowd chanting "You can't wrestle" at Batista. That is categorically untrue.
Yeah, he's probably the worst wrestler in ring performer of the bunch.
Technician, yeah.
But that's not fair because the other 5 guys are fucking really good.
But also, yes, he can wrestle. Like, fuck you.
Fuck you. Did you ever see his match against Undertaker, motherfucker?
You can hate him for being a heel, but don't say that he's not good at his job.
His matches against The Undertaker were great.
We're about to get a hot tag spot. Ambrose is crawling to the corner, and the only thing that I can tell is that it's a great idea that Ambrose / Moxley cut his hair, because when it was here, it was getting a little thin.
Yeah, it was, but it was raggedy. It was a nice raggedy thing. It would have ruined the whole thing for me if he didn't have that hair. I don't know. There was something about the floppy, like thinning hair that just made it just worked. It really did just work. He counters the pedigree after. Honestly, might be one of the most shit spine busters I've ever seen Triple H hit. It was bad. He counters a pedigree and plants Triple H with, I don't remember if it was a regular DDT or a Dirty Deeds, but
it was a Dirty Deeds, I think.
Yeah, with that, and then Roman comes in.
Reigns is in, and he is over as fuck as babyface. And it's funny, while he's doing the hot tag, if you look at the far side of the ring, you can see Ambrose and Rollins just watching him from the outside.
Yeah.
They're just kind of ducked down. You can just see, like, from their nose up, and they're just kind of watching Roman in the ring. And I'm like,
there was one part of the match.
Sell a little bit.
So Ambrose was on the outside. Roman was standing on the apron when Rollins was in the ring. There was one point. And Ambrose was, like, kind of like, you know, prairie dogging it, like, right behind Roman. And at one point, you can kind of see him, like, touch Roman's leg, and Roman just looks down at him like fuck off type of deal. Like he like tickled his leg or something.
I'm busy here.
Yeah, and then so we get that. We get the Roman hot tag. Rollins comes in with a flying knee on Batista at one point here while he's setting up to go for a Batista bomb on Roman. Roman slipped out and followed that up with a Superman punch. We get a triple power bomb in the ring on Batista. But right as Roman's going in for the pin, he gets pulled out of the ring. Pedigree to Reigns. Dean makes the save.
Yeah.
And then we get the fun part of the match.
It starts to go crazy. There's an RKO to Reigns. Batista's in the ring. Rollins breaks up the pin. They're over by the Timekeepers area. And by them, I mean that is Triple H is over there. And Ambrose runs over to announce tables to dive onto Triple H.
Yeah, Triple H, and I think Randy Orton had migrated over there by that point.
And then they're brawling out into the crowd, and so it's Ambrose and Rollins versus Orton and Triple H out into the concourse.
Yeah.
And eventually you just see Ambrose just swinging at Orton and Triple H. You don't really see Rollins anymore.
Yeah, he gets shoved down some steps like he's a petulant child.
Where did Rollins go?
Well, where Rollins went was so Ambrose gets flung down some stairs. Then they very gingerly walk down those steps. Gets Ambrose, start beating him up, and then they look up and they're like, what? And then, would you look at that? It's Seth Rollins diving off the railing from the top of the concourse.
The camera work was incredible because you didn't see Rollins until the last second.
Yeah.
They didn't sell it and it looked like they weren't prepared for it. And also Orton and Triple H sell it well by like kind of noticing. They kind of like look over and they're like, okay, and they're turn back to Ambrose and then they're like, wait 1 second, and they just slowly turn back and look, and then they get hit with it, and I was like, that was good. That was a good sell.
Good for them.
So that takes them out. Back in the ring, Reigns and Batista, who are the two legal men, are still there.
Batista is a spine buster.
Yep.
Which looked good.
It did look good.
Unlike Triple H's. Roman backs him up as he's going for the Batista bomb, and he hits a Superman punch. It hits a spear.
But also fucking anticipation. He was shaking with anticipation before the spear. You know how he would wait to do the ooh-ah? He was just like fucking vibrating. He's I'm gonna get him, I'm gonna get him, I'm gonna get him, and then finally ooh-ah! He's like, yes, Roman, fucking.
And like I did it too. I'm not gonna fucking front. I did the ooh-ah with him.
Yeah, ooh-ah. So Reigns hits it 1, 2, 3. Excellent match. They would be followed by a clean sweep in an elimination style match at Payback, which was not as good in terms of the quality, but still is an excellent match.
Yeah, still a good match.
When we get back from this last commercial break, the Shield implodes. Back from the break, like I said, at Payback they did a clean sweep of Evolution, and so now we're looking at the time when the Shield imploded. So it's the next night on Raw.
Batista has quit.
Orton is out there with Triple H, walking to the ring where the Shield are, and they say that there's always a plan B.
Triple H is like, if you know me, anything about me, I adapt.
Yes.
The last night was plan A. Then he looks at a sledgehammer. Tonight, plan B.
Before we get into what actually happens, when you're looking at Triple H in the entryway, you will see a sign. And the sign says, I'll take a triple powerbomb by the Shield any night. Man, this is a family show. Man. I know you're not alone, but Jesus Christ.
You can't be doing that when Evan is watching.
Yeah, I'm trying to get immersed in the content.
He has wholesome eyes.
Yeah, exactly. I'm wholesome. Now, Ambrose and Reigns and Rollins are all in the ring, and Ambrose and Reigns step up to face Orton and Triple H after he says the plan B comment. And then Rollins, with a steel chair, swings for Reigns' back. And the best part about this all is the guy in the crowd who, so clearly yells, No!
I mean, there's that, but I just love the little hum of the crowd right before it happens. They know what's going to happen right before it does. And they're like, oh! It's like a little, oh! It's like a little tiny murmur.
He cracks Reigns, who falls, and then he ends up hitting Ambrose with the chair repeatedly.
No. Him and Ambrose lock eyes. They're like staring deep into each other's soul, like, honey?
What happened?
And he's just stunned. He's looking back and forth between Roman and Rollins. He's like, what the fuck? He takes a step forward towards Rollins. He doesn't look like he's about to attack him. It honestly just looks like a normal step. He's just trying to figure out what the fuck. And then Rollins is just like, fuck
just
that.
Just lays into him.
Chair shot right to the gullet.
With so many chair shots that the chair is bent.
He literally breaks it on Dean Ambrose's back. It's a good thing they have those vests.
Rollins was the least expected defector.
Yeah.
Everyone thought that Ambrose would make the best heel, so Ambrose is going to be the one to turn the Shield eventually. And then there was a thought a little bit at that time that maybe Reigns will be like the pet project and they'll treat him like Corporate Rock, which is something that would have worked as well. But instead it was Rollins.
Because you just saw it. You saw the babyface side of him,
and Rollins had so much babyface potential. Look at his moveset. Good-looking guy, going to print them tons of money, but instead they decided to make him the heel by saying, he's the architect of the Shield. He broke it up. It was a business arrangement. They were never brothers. It led to some amazing feuds. I remember thinking, wow, this feels early. They just became baby faces. They haven't done it for long.
No.
And they're already breaking them up.
No.
This was perfect in terms of timing.
It was perfect. It was the perfect time. They broke up the Shield at the exact perfect time. There was nothing else. There was nothing.
They left us wanting more, and I will say that the wanting more that happened later was kind of weird. But we're not going to talk about Kurt Angle in Shield gear as the Shield's weird granddad.
Damn it, Roman!
But instead, we're gonna just talk about this. It leads to Orton and Triple H coming in the ring.
You sold out chance.
Yeah, Rollins hands the chair over to Orton, who takes his own licks, and especially is laying a bunch of shots on Reigns. Damn. Yeah,
his vest is taken off. It's bare on his back.
RKO on a chair, and this goes on for an uncomfortable length of time.
Yeah. At least they make it feel real,
Yeah.
And my favorite thing about this, I love the natural you sold out chance more than anything because it led to one of my favorite lines that Seth Rollins has ever said, which is, I did not sell out. I bought in on Seth Rollins.
Seth Rollins' heel run is still one of my favorites.
Yeah, it was incredible. His run in the entirety of 2014 after this, heading into 2015 and through to the end of the year, his whole title reign was incredible. Like, it genuinely is one of the best things of the last decade.
So let's go to the future. Rollins becomes Mr. Money in the Bank, cashes in at WrestleMania 31 during the Reigns-Lesnar
best cash-in of all time. I don't care what anyone says.
Absolutely, and becomes a huge mega heel douche champion and would eventually lose that title due to a knee injury during a tour in Europe. I think he injured in Ireland,
yes,
I believe.
November.
Yes, and so he would have to give up the title belt. Reigns and Ambrose would meet into the 2015 Survivor Series tournament finals to determine the new WWE champion. With Reigns winning, he would immediately be cashed in on by Money in the Bank winner Sheamus. Remember that, when Sheamus was Mr. Money in the Bank with the League of Nations? What a fucking weird time. I still believe Ambrose should have been in the WrestleMania 32 main event after his performance at Roadblock against Triple H, but,
Instead of
I'm not the one
crappy
booking
match
it.
with Brock.
Yeah. Said he had that crappy match with Brock. Then we're in 2016. Rollins had returned from injury at Extreme Rules at the end of it, I believe.
In May.
Yeah.
The original idea was for them at 32 to have the Shield triple threat main event. Rollins tearing his ACL, being gone for 7 months, obviously put a wrench into those plans, and they were not able to do that. Instead, we got Roman Reigns being hated like a motherfucker by everyone because they made him feel like Superman. And at one point in that whole thing, we got behind him.
We did.
When he
Philadelphia, the city of Philadelphia liked him.
Dude, I was ready. Like, I hated the way that they booked Roman after the Royal Rumble. I couldn't stand it. I hated it. I really did hate it. Like, after WrestleMania 31, they just made it even worse. There was the entirety of that. I was really sour on Roman. I saw the potential. I thought he was actually very good at wrestling. Like, I wasn't one of those people that was like, he sucks, he can't do anything in the ring. No, I was like, fuck you guys. This guy's awesome, right? They're just fucking him completely. And I hated the character. And man, when he won that, when he beat AJ and Seth showed up, that I was watching that live. That might have been the highlight of my life.
So everyone thought Rollins was going to come back as babyface, triumphant return from a big ACL injury like that. No, he
massive
gets a promo
pop.
the next night and immediately is like, fuck you people.
Yeah.
He says it in better, more PG-13 words, but he doesn't give a shit what you people think.
My knee buckled, carrying the weight of this company.
That's right.
Fuck that, fucking hell. It was a great promo, fantastic promo. You could tell.
The two of them have a match at Money in the Bank 2016, and it's Rollins beating Reigns for the WWE Championship in his first clean singles main roster loss ever. That's how
that
Rollins
was insane.
beat him.
I remember the moment. Did you watch that live?
I watched it all live.
I remember the moment. I was like, oh my fucking God. I genuinely thought it was just going to be a screwy finish and Roman would retain his title because I couldn't see either one of the two guys losing because, Roman finally had his moment at 32. That was the moment. We have anointed him. He is going to have the John Cena run of over a year. And, he's going to be the guy that carries his company, BB Girl, And no, couple months in, he has a great feud with AJ that lasted 2 pay-per-views. Rollins comes back. Fuck you. This is mine now.
And then Dean Ambrose, who had just won the Money in the Bank briefcase earlier in the night, comes out and cashes in. All 3 members of the Shield were WWE champion on the same night because he beats Rollins real quickly. That leads to Battleground. This is right at the brand extension. So not only are they fighting for the WWE Championship in this triple threat, they're also fighting for which brand gets the WWE title.
This is the last pay-per-view of the...
Rollins and Reigns are both on Raw, and Ambrose is on SmackDown Live. And so, this is the last pay-per-view before the brand split.
So this was post-draft, but
post-draft.
Separate pay-per-views, which it was so awkward.
The next night was the start of the split. Yeah,
it was so awkward. I mean, this was a great pay-per-view in my opinion, though. That I mentioned it earlier. That Kevin Owens Sami Zayn match, that was the final one. You wouldn't see them again together for a long time. They were separated, and they were awesome when they were separated. But man,
see what else was on that show. Let's see. Wyatt Family versus the New Day in a 6-man tag. 'Cause, yeah, that's when Xavier Woods was afraid of the Wyatts.
Yeah.
And this is the debut of Bayley, because she was Sasha's surprise partner with against Charlotte and Dana Brooke, because Dana Brooke was going to be Charlotte's protege. Remember that?
And she was for a long time until she got her shit
And
kicked.
this was John Cena, Big Cass, and Enzo versus the Club, because this was hashtag beat up John Cena time.
Yep. This was the match that they had to put in before SummerSlam, because it would have been awkward if they didn't have they couldn't have another match.
No.
So they had to make it a weird tag.
Remember that time when Darren Young challenged for the Intercontinental Championship?
Yeah, against The Miz, right?
Yeah.
Make Darren Young
great again. No. Nope. This match, the one thing that I love is that at the beginning, both Reigns and Ambrose have their issues with Rollins, obviously, because he put a knife in the back of the Shield. And I always like the dynamic of Ambrose and Reigns of we are friends who also want to be better than one another.
Yeah.
They're always chummy about it, and they realize let's fuck up Seth, because he's a little piece of shit. But they always are willing to one up one another. That's what I liked about their match at Survivor Series 2015. It was still very chummy of oh, hey, yeah, you got me, fuck you.
Yeah, I mean, the thing that I loved most, honestly, if you think about it, him and Roman, Dean and Roman, were always they never really turned on each other. They always had each other's back. Because if you think about when Dean became a heel, it was the night that Roman had to go away because he was diagnosed with leukemia, and that night in the main event was when he turned on Rollins. Yeah. And then Roman comes back, and that's when Dean turns babyface.
They really fumbled it with that turn. If you're gonna turn him that way, the way that they did it, where he was all of a sudden a germaphobe.
Yeah, and I hate he wore that stupid gas mask. They fucked it up entirely. But
they fucked it up.
Man, I mean, they had that line in there about, Roman house dance.
Yeah.
That sucked. Honestly, it was, I will say, yeah, it got him a lot of heat. But aside from that, him and Roman have always kind of just been fine.
Yeah, they've been cool. Which was weird when they first broke up, because Ambrose was the one who took it really personally, and Reigns was I'm going to move on to challenging for the WWE title. Immediately.
Yeah.
And Reigns never fully went and got his revenge on Rollins. This is really one of the first times that he's
but
fuck Rollins.
The plan was for that Survivor Series in 2015 was for Roman to take the title off of Rollins.
Oh, okay.
That was the original plan, but Rollins, I think, he tore his ACL a couple weeks before the show, so they had to do that tournament. And honestly, I don't know what the plans would have been after that. Maybe Dean would have won the Royal Rumble or something. I don't know how
I would have fucking loved that.
I don't know how they get to the main event, because I mean the Royal Rumble in 2016, that was AJ's debut. That was the one where that was for the title. You can't have that storyline if the main event's going to be the Shield triple threat. So what do you do?
I still love Dean Ambrose as the last guy in with Triple H in that match. Yeah. I thought that was amazing.
Love that roadblock.
That run for Dean was so good. Dean Ambrose is one of my favorite wrestlers, so I fucking love it.
Yeah, and when he wins the title, he was an awesome champion. He carried that belt with some fucking pride.
We should talk about this match. Holy shit.
Yes.
This match is fine.
It starts with Roman sucks chance, which I did not like. Because he doesn't suck, man. He just doesn't. You just don't like his character.
Literally everything he does in this match elicits boos. Anything he does, cool moves, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, remember that era when everyone would just shit on Roman Reigns for no reason? Even after the whole they were feeding him shit promos and everything, when they were just doing it just because, hey, it's the cool thing to do.
Yeah, it wasn't.
I didn't like that. I didn't. I'm not saying you've got to make this guy the top babyface or anything. If you really don't like him, indifference. Just indifference.
I'm trying to think of spots I really liked in this one. I like that Ambrose redid the spot from the Evolution match where he runs across the announce tables. They go to the timekeeper's area, Rollins out there, and Reigns is there, and Ambrose does the dive across the two tables onto them. And I was like, oh, look, a callback.
So commentary sucks, first off. This commentary is awful. Yeah. It's JBL, Byron Saxton, and Michael Cole, and they are awful together.
Yeah, it's not. There's no flavor there.
It's bad throughout the entire match. This is almost 19 minutes of just shit commentary. Dean wipes out Roman on a dive, then eats a flying knee. We get a bulldog from Ambrose onto Roman. We get a flying elbow. He gets a near fall on it. As they're rolling away, Rollins comes in from out of fucking nowhere and hits a frog splash.
Yeah.
We get Superman punches to both of them.
For everybody.
We get a rebound clothesline. So Rollins goes for the rebound clothesline that he does, which I love. I love that move so much.
You mean Ambrose?
Ambrose does that, yes.
Yeah.
Did I say Rollins? I fucked up.
You did.
I fucked up.
You fucked up.
Anyways, he goes for that. Roman hits a Superman punch, and then hits one on Rollins. Because everyone gets a Superman punch. It's like
Everybody's
Oprah.
down. All three men are down.
Then we get a cool little dichotomy because Dean and Rollins have been feuding like crazy this whole time. And they will continue to do so. Heading into the official brand split where they're fighting over which brand will get the WWE title. Which gives us those cool... Remember that like dusty finish on Raw between those two? Where Dean... they like got the double pin, but they were like, Rollins won. So for a night, we thought that Rollins had won the title.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was cool. And then, so they team up and start beating down on Roman.
Yes, because he's the strongest guy in the match. It makes sense. They do the double power, or they're going for the powerbomb the first time, and Reigns escaped. And then they go for it a second time, and they powerbomb through the table.
And then this is my favorite part of the match, right here.
Go into it.
So Dean turns away. He's like amped up. He's like looking at Mick and Stephanie who are sitting ringside, and he's like, "Let's fucking go." In the background, if you're looking at if you're from our perspective, you see it the entire time because the camera does not zoom in to hide it. Rollins is just in the background. He looks over at Dean. You see him lean down. He goes underneath the ring, pulls out a chair, and what does he do? He fucking takes it and he whips him in the fucking back with it.
Yep. An homage to the decline of the Shield, the implosion of the Shield.
An homage, baby. And then he starts beating on Roman with it. Eventually, we get back to the ring. It's Rollins and Ambrose for a little while. He goes for a buckle bomb, or he goes for the pedigree, realizes he's not going to be able to do it. He tries to go for a buckle bomb. Dean hits a Hurricane Rana, so Rollins goes flying into the corner. Fast forward a couple seconds, Rollins is up. He does the super plex into a Falcon Arrow spot that he would do. He was doing sometimes at that moment, which like every old school wrestler is just like, you fucking asshole.
Yeah.
Ruining the business. It was a near fall. Roman decides, I'm alive again. He hits a regular power bomb on Dean. And then he hits a sit-out powerbomb on Rollins for a near fall.
Reigns' sit-out powerbomb is so fucking good.
It's awesome. It really is.
The way that he sells it, the amount of time he can hold somebody in the air is crazy.
He's strong.
He should still be using that. That man's strong.
I mean, the thing I love is he rarely ever pulls it out, but the Razor's Edge sit-out powerbomb is incredible. He tried to do it on Dean here. But Dean swarmed his way out of it. He went for a rebound clothesline off of that. Roman hits a Superman punch. Rollins sneaks his way back in, hits a pedigree on Roman for a near fall. So this time he kicks out.
Huge reaction for the pedigree, too. People were stoked that Rollins was going to win.
Yeah. Rollins hits a buckle bomb, but Roman rebounds out of it, hits a Superman punch and a spear. Immediately, Dean Ambrose gets back in the ring, grabs Roman, dirty deeds. 1, 2, 3. Dean Ambrose retains his title and is the Shield member that wins the triple threat.
Also, the SmackDown Live locker room celebrates. I love that OG 2016 SmackDown Live locker room. We've talked about it before on the pod. It was such a fun
And the
era.
first two people you see when the camera cuts to them, John Cena and Becky Lynch.
Yeah. Two absolute legends and stars.
Yeah, like those two. The guy who carried the company on his back for a decade and the woman who carried the company on her back for 2 years before she had to go be a mama.
Go be a super mom. That wraps up our discussion on the Shield. Yes, they would come back. Yes, we'd have Rollins and Ambrose teaming back up again, and we had that weird time where Kurt Angle joined them, and there's a lot of other Shield adjacent things that have happened, but this is the run of the Shield. Javier, thoughts on the Shield in general?
Dude, awesome. I mean, they were the thing that, aside from Daniel Bryan, got me most excited when I went back and looked through what I missed when I was lapsed. Honestly, it was amazing. They were really, really good. Again, they were the MVP of Raw in 2013. They carried that company on their damn backs with those 6-man tag matches, and it's so awesome to see where they are now. Even you think about it, Roman just main events at WrestleMania, and he's the biggest thing in WWE right now. Rollins is in a weird phase of his career, but just a couple of years ago, he was their biggest babyface. He beat Brock Lesnar in the first match of WrestleMania. He really was, being in that role that people kind of envisioned him in, that athletic, babyface. It's Seth Rollins. Seth frickin' Rollins, Monday Night Rollins, all that jazz, where he was awesome.
Messiah.
And Ambrose was in a weird place after he came back from his elbow surgery or whatever, tricep, whatever injury he suffered at a stage there. But when he came back, he was fine. He turned heel. That heel run died a death. He turned babyface again when Roman came back. It was really awkward for a while, and then he left. And he went.
And then he became one of the best things in wrestling. Yeah. Jon Moxley.
He became the guy in wrestling for a while. Like, honestly, for much of 2020, even a little bit of 2019 too. Dean Ambrose, Jon Moxley was, in my opinion, the biggest star in all of wrestling. And he was great. He carried the entire company on his back. He was a star. Like, there's no other way to say it. He was a star. In the same way, Drew McIntyre really did carry WWE a lot for 2020. Dean Ambrose or Jon Moxley was doing the same thing for AEW. And it's just really cool to see where they are now because, man, these are the faces. Ambrose is the face of AEW. I know Kenny Omega's their top guy now, and they're building him as this like legendary dude. But like, it was Moxley for the longest time, and
Moxley is the best face in AEW.
Yeah, and he will continue to be until the day that he is no longer a face, and then he will be their biggest heel. Roman right now is the biggest star in all of wrestling. I don't care what anyone says. He is Roman the money guy.
Legendary run.
He is a money guy right now in this heel tribal chief head of the table run that he's got going for him. It's amazing. He is in his fucking bag, both in the ring, on the mic, in any capacity. The fucking facial expressions this man makes. Like, I cower in fear every time I see him. It's like that.
Those 8K cameras on SmackDown are terrifying.
When he lifts the title up, I've said this on the podcast before. If you don't think that Roman Reigns is a top guy, just look at Roman Reigns.
You're out of your mind.
Just look at him. Literally, just look at him. I don't care if he's the shits. I don't care if he can't talk to save his life. Fucking look at the guy. I give him the world title just based on that. But not only that, he's cutting the best promos of his career. He's doing some of the best in-ring work of his career. He is incredible. Seth Rollins right now, the Messiah gimmick, I personally enjoy. I thought his match against Cesaro was third, fourth best match of WrestleMania. Like, he's looking like he's on the upswing again after a little bit of a down period. Congratulations to him for having a daughter, being a father.
It's a big thing.
Let's go. 2 of the 3 guys are currently having to deal with babies. Roman has like 80 kids, so I can't really congratulate him. But
when you look at the Shield, it is one of the best factions that we've ever had. Yeah. Bar none.
There wasn't a Marty Jannetty,
And in terms of success rate, I talked about how Evolution was stacked. Ric Flair was already established, so was Triple H. So they were 2 for 2 in terms of developing new stars. The Shield had nobody in terms of like star power with them. No goddamn Big Show in a beanie. But 3 for 3. Yeah. Like, every single person in that
Grand
became
Slam
a star, a world champion, they were amazing.
Within a year of the breakup, all 3 guys were made. Like, money, top faces, top guys in the entire company.
And you can't say that about pretty much any other faction, especially a faction of like new people.
You can't.
Like, the fucking core doing that.
Like, dude, no. I love the Wyatt family. The Wyatt family are one of the greatest factions of all time. under no circumstance did I ever think Eric Rowan was ever going to win the world title. I'm sorry. I just didn't. I thought, Luke Harper could have done it because he was very talented in the ring and he could have just done it all the way around. And maybe if he makes the sort of, if you make him like a monster heel, he can make a solid run, maybe be a token world champion for a couple months. Kind of in the same vein as Kofi. Kofi had a nice 6 months as champion and he'll probably never hold it again, but shit, we still got those 6 months, I
just wanted to hold.
I know. It's just because I saw your shirt and I was thinking like that was the first token title run that kind of came to mind.
I am rocking the Kofi Kingston Wale Mania shirt, which was not shipping to Canada, so instead was shipped to Javier and then was shipped to me.
Javier came
He's
in
my
clutch.
Supplier. That's right.
I am now an international supplier.
Plug. He's the plug. Man, it's good to look at the Shield. We were trying to think about a group that kind of we could look at that didn't exist anymore. And obviously the Shield is not going to exist in its old iteration now. All three guys doing their own thing, and obviously Moxley now in another company.
Moxley's never going back. I know never say never, all that jazz.
He's never going back.
He's never going back. He's just that guy. He is that, the abnormality when it comes to wrestling. If fucking the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega could go to WWE before I believe Jon Moxley will ever go back. Like the guy is doing blood sport matches right now. He doesn't he is fulfilled by creative and just fun wrestling, and he will never get that if he goes back to WWE. So just stay where you are, Dean, John, Johnny Boy,
John Dean,
Mox Good, that guy.
Mox Good. That is going to wrap up this week's episode. I feel like we talked a lot about like the booking of wrestling of the last 4 or 5 years, and you know what? If you're a fan of wrestling right now, you've probably seen the Shield. Go back and watch, especially the Wyatt match. Also, the Evolution match is really fun. You've seen these. Go back and watch them. It's just good to talk about the Shield. 3 of the biggest success stories in wrestling in the last long time.
Yeah, and it's hard not to go on tangents because these are the guys that are the
dudes.
Faces of wrestling right now,
Speaking of the faces of wrestling, Javier, we're actually going to go dive into our next 3-parter starting next week.
Oh, yeah.
Who do we got coming up?
He was on this podcast. It's Triple H.
Yeah, we mentioned him. Yeah, it's the King of Kings. It's Triple H, the cerebral assassin.
Do you think people have picked up on the pattern by now?
I think so. I mean, in terms of who we cover for
or how we decide who to cover.
Yeah. So, we got Triple H coming, so we're going to start with the birth of the game, and that'll be next week, first part of a 3-parter on Triple H. We had to delay it by 2 weeks, but we're going to get there for episodes 61, 62, and 63.
Hopefully we can get some terrorizing in there. We got some Hunter
terrorizing.
Helmsley.
Yes, the Connecticut Blue Blood. So that's going to wrap up talking about the Shield. Javier, where can the people find you on social media?
I'm on the Twitter machine at JMelloSports. Catch me retweeting a lot of things.
Yes, the retweet machine. Follow me on Twitter at @7gomes, ITSEVANGOMES. Follow the podcast on Twitter and Instagram at Crossbody of Work. Also, check out our pinned tweet. Tell us who you want us to interview on the podcast, because you know what? We'll at least try. We'll give it the old college try. If you have someone we should cover, email us at crossbodyofworkpodcast@gmail.com. Give us ideas for who we should cover next. Man. That's it for this week.
What an
Javier,
episode.
Any last words for the people? Yeah, what an episode. We crushed it. We're here. We're doing the things.
The most hyped episode of this ever. We've been hyping it for 2 weeks.
We fucking have.
We probably delivered. I hope we delivered.
I hope we did. And if not, then Javier's going to turn on me like Rollins did. Any last words for the people?
Black Lives Matter. Asian Lives Matter. Rest in peace, George Floyd. Keep fighting the good fight, everybody.
See you next week.